Today I'm going to cover the setup of the boost buck converter and wall adapter, which makes your power supply for your third year kit. Basically, this would be a schematic representation of a power supply, and this particular one is set up for 9 volts. That's basically what your little wall adapter is. It's a single-ended supply capable of producing a single voltage. There's a lot of instances where you need more than one supply to form a plus and minus voltage, like this, where you have a negative voltage with respect to a common point and a positive voltage with respect to a common point. Now in that case, we need to use this buck converter circuit here, which will actually, it has a switching regulator on here, and it's capable of converting that single-ended input to a plus and minus output, basically, and that's adjustable by adjusting this potentiometer right here. Alright, so also inside your kit is this little green and red and black wire. That's to connect from this connector onto your breadboard. So you'd probably put the red to the plus voltage, the black to the minus voltage, and the green to ground. That's how I set it up. You can choose whatever setup you like, just do it right. Don't mess it up and blow something up. So the first thing you're going to have to do to set this up is cut the end off your wall adapter. Make sure it's not plugged in when you do this. So just chop it right off. Split the wires and back a few inches, and then take a pair of wire strippers and strip these to a few millimeters. Now, first thing you're going to have to do is determine which one of these are positive and negative. And you might want to, just before we go about this, tape them down. If you're only one person, if you got an extra person, you may not have to tape them down. But I'm by myself, so I'm going to tape them down to determine this. And what you want to do after that is plug in the adapter, and then take your meter, set it to the 20 volt range. Now, you notice I have my positive on one lead, negative on the other, and it's measuring minus 16. So that basically means I have them swapped as far as plus and minus. So if I switch them the other way, I see a positive 16 volts. So now that suggests that the lead that I'm connected to with my positive, my red lead, and you got to make sure you've got them plugged into your meter correctly as well, but that is my positive. That's really important, so I'm going to leave the tape attached to my positive lead, because you don't want to mess this up. If you put this into the buck boost module with the wrong polarity, you'll probably blow it up, and then you'll be a couple more days before you can do anything else. Now, underneath it's labeled VN and ground, so you want your positive to VN and your ground to the negative. So just slide it right in. Now make sure that the insulation butts right up against the connector. If these are stripped too far back and you have wire sticking out, when you put this all the way in and you still have exposed wire, the wires can touch, short out, and cause problems. So it's really important that, as you can see here, the wire just goes inside and just disappears to the edge of the insulation. Use a screwdriver to tighten that screw terminal down. Do the same with the second wire, and then take your 3-wire here and hook it up to this terminal down to your breadboard. Now, I already have that all set up, so I'm just gonna pop that out here, move my meter out of the way. I'm stuck on my tape. Now I already have mine set up to go into my breadboard. I tape this down so that the wires don't easily pull out of the breadboard, because otherwise they will easily pull out of the breadboard. So the next thing I'm going to want to do is adjust the voltage on this module. So right now I'm set up with my connection in, my wires out, they go to my breadboard. One important thing about this module is it needs at least a 15 milliamp load to operate correctly. So I'm going to operate mine at a plus and minus 9 volt supply. So I've got a little LED here that takes up 3 volts, leaving me 7. So 7 volts across 15 milliamps is approximately 470 something ohms or 60 something ohms. So I just threw in a 470 ohm resistor here. On the negative rail, I don't have an LED set up, so basically I'm going to have 9 volts over 15 milliamps. So that comes out to 600 or so milliamp or ohms. So I just threw in a 680 ohm resistor here. So it's really important to have that load, or this will not operate correctly. It will not give you the proper voltage. So I'm going to plug it in, and of course my LED comes on, and that bright little light there. So what I want to do now is set the voltage. And again, this could require 2 people if you're not good holding your meter. What I've done is I put the positive rail at the top, the negative rail at the bottom, and ground in the next rail beside the negative rail. So I've got basically minus 9 all along here, plus 9 all along there, and ground all along that rail there. So I'll just hook the meter in here and over there, just touching the resistor leads, and that tells me I have a voltage of about 8 volts. So now I can turn this pot, and it's counterclockwise to turn it down, clockwise to turn it up. So I'm going to turn it clockwise till I reach 9 volts. There we are. Approximately. I'm not that worried about exactly 9 volts. 9.02, 8.9, whatever. Good enough. So now that measures 9, and we'll measure the negative rail to make sure it's somewhere near 9. So 8.98. So yep, that's as close to 9 as I can hope for. And that basically is that. Do your best not to short it out or do anything silly like that. And it should be able to give you all the power for any of your circuits. So, you know, if you need, and for that matter, you can use it as a plus and minus 9 volt. You can use it single-ended. You can't load the negative side without loading the positive side. That's one issue with this. But it will work perfectly to power something like your op-amp circuit, where you are looking to have a minus 9 volt, plus 9 volt, and a common to run your op-amp. So enjoy. Thank you.